Welcome anyone to my YouTube channel. This is Ever, aka Two Beasts to Kill You, aka the Beast with the Least. And oh man, we had an absolute slaughter today in terms of video game layoffs. Yeah, but before we get into that, let's go ahead and hit that intro. All right. So, Fortnite developer, we'll just say that, and that's probably now what they're best known for, but Epic Games, the studio behind Fortnite, they're laying off 1,000 people. Yeah, there's no punchline, no smart ass way to say it. 1,000 people are just losing their jobs. They're also shutting down a few of their like games that are in their Epic, I guess not Epic, but the Fortnite launcher or whatever it is. But yeah, this is just let me put up this article by IGN. So yeah, right here it says, this is from IGN. Fortnite developer Epic Games has announced it's laying off 1,000 staff due to a quote-unquote downturn in engagement in its evergreen battle royale. In a message to staff shared publicly this morning, Epic Games boss Tim Sweeney said the company was spending significantly more than we're making, meaning that it now needed to make major cuts to keep the company funded. There's more to it. The news comes just a week after the launch of Fortnite's highly anticipated new battle royale season, 2 weeks after their controversial, raising of the V-Bucks prices, which obviously didn't go over well. But yeah, here's more from the guy himself. Today we're this is just the full thing. Today we're laying off over 1,000 Epic employees. Sweeney told Epic Games employees, "I'm sorry we're here again. The downturn in Fortnite engagement that started in 2025 means we're spending significantly more than we're making, and we have to make major cuts to keep the company funded. Today's layoffs are being accompanied by over $500 million worth of identified cost savings in contracting and marketing," he continued, "while the hiring of some roles will cease. Some of the challenges we're facing are industry-wide challenges," Sweeney wrote, blaming slower growth, weaker spending, and tougher cost economics. Discussing that last point in more detail, Sweeney said that that current consoles were selling less than last generation, and noted that games were increasingly competing for time against other forms of entertainment. It just goes on. Obviously, they're going through challenges, yada yada yada. It's not good. Also, they're as I said earlier, they're shutting down 3 of their games within the game. In a separate announcement, right here, it says today, Epic Games said its Psyonix made Rocket Racing mode would go off permanently later this year, and 2 other modes will be taken off next month. Festival Battle Stage, which I guess is it's a competitive version of their music mode, and then Fortnite Ballistic, which was them trying to do a tactical shooter. So again, it's 1,000 people. I mean, they're a big publisher, a big publisher / studio. These are the guys who made Unreal Tournament, Gears of War. As you could see right here, I'm a big fan of Gears of War. But they also make the Unreal Engine. They're the brains behind one of the most, well, I guess Unity might be used more, I'm not too sure, but one of the most used engines, at least of the past 20 years anyway, is from Epic Games. So yeah, the fact that their game, that Fortnite, seems to just not be making enough money, or not getting enough eyeballs or players or whatever it is, to me, that's not just a thing for Fortnite. I think now this is just a bigger overall whatever of the video game landscape. Like, just what I think. Maybe not. Maybe it's not true. Maybe it is. But I think with Fortnite being at least from my point of view, with Fortnite being the most popular game in the in the landscape right now, video games. I mean, there can be an argument of whatever Call of Duty, Minecraft, Roblox, whatever other games. Um, but I'm pretty sure objectively, like Fortnite is the most popular game. Like it's played on everything. You could play it on anything. It could be played on on a fucking tablet. Um, Hell, it could be played on a phone. Like it's really easily accessible, and so it's cultivated one of the biggest fan bases. Especially because like they just have everything. Any kind of collaboration you could think of was in Fortnite. Yet for some reason, it's now starting to lose steam. And for me, just again, my opinion, I think with Fortnite losing that momentum that it's gained over the past, almost 10 years now, I think this is a sign that I believe, anyway, that the live service bubble's probably going to pop at some point. I mean, we've seen a lot of stuff happening with, other live service games that just completely died, right? Like, just boom. We've had, obviously, Concord, High Guard recently. We've had all the Sony stuff happen with them just canceling games straight up before it could even come out. There's their Fair Games that just is in development hell, rumored to probably not come out. There was I don't remember, but the heist game the Xbox was making that's canceled. That's gone. And then obviously there's just been other games that, Paladins shut down some time ago, or at least was on its way to being shut down. I don't remember exactly. And, I've said it a lot on, the podcast, if you, watch the podcast or whatever. I think maybe in videos, that like, when it comes to live service games, specifically, certain types, like Fortnite in the Battle Royale genre, you need to be one of the first ones to really gain ground and then hold it. Unless you have something that's just like, oh, yeah, no, this has something that makes me want to play the game. Like obviously in the beginning we had PUBG, and then Fortnite. Fortnite had its building, aspects, which probably helped it a lot. There was obviously Call of Duty, which is just Call of Duty, or the Warzone. It's Call of Duty, so that probably helped it a lot to be popular. Apex Legends carved out a niche for itself, although that's obviously slowed down and everything. But we saw a ton of other battle royales try to come out and just fail. Like there was the one from Cliff Blazinski. We talked about it literally on the latest episode of the podcast. I'm still not remembering the name ever. But, Ubisoft has come out with a couple of them. All over the place. There's just been battle royale after battle royale. And obviously, if you were not the top 4 at least, you just weren't making it. And, now we've seen with the hero shooter genre, with, if you're not Overwatch or Marvel Rivals, Concord failed. High Guard failed, and those games are gone, and their studios are shut down. Not only that, but like we're seeing this happen with extraction shooters. If you're not Escape from Tarkov or Arc Raiders, like it's going to be very hard to probably carve out a niche for your own piece of the pie of that live service, that very specific live service pie. And like Marathon, which is from Bungie, the makers of Halo and the original Marathon and Oni and obviously Destiny, one of the most legendary shooter studios ever. And something came out today. Let me see if I can find it. I'm pretty sure I saved it. That like they've only sold about 1.2 million units for Marathon. Like, that's not going to sustain that game because it's clearly had a high enough budget. They're a AAA studio owned by Sony, and 1.2 million is probably not going to cut it. Now, obviously, Marathon could end up. It is, again, it's Bungie. It could end up getting up there and recovering and everything. But again, I think it's going to have a hard time against Arc Raiders and Escape from Tarkov. And so, yeah, when you see all these live service games, try to compete for just that little scrap, X Defiant is another one that came out, just any shooter practically within the last 10 years. If it wasn't Call of Duty, if it wasn't Destiny, if it wasn't Fortnite, PUBG, whatever it was, these games just didn't last long. Even really good games. Again, X Defiant was a pretty good game, but Splitgate, really good. And then they just couldn't do it, So, again, I really do believe the live service bubble is about to burst because there's only so many failures that could keep going, and eventually, there's only so far you can go, I think, with your game, and only push so far, especially with Fortnite, doing some unpopular things, we'll say. There's only so far that these games can go. I mean, and again, even some of these most popular games that have come out that are live service have started to lose its audience. Call of Duty Black Ops, the latest Black Ops game did not sell as well because it wasn't what people wanted. Even Battlefield, the latest Battlefield game came out, Battlefield 6, everyone was so in love with it, and it was the best-selling game of the year, but it's almost the talk about it is just completely gone now. It's just, so again, what's going on with the live service bubble, and it's, there is that whole thing of a lot of people don't seem to be a big fan of live service games right now. And I mean, I don't blame them. A lot of people do like the single player stuff or just something to play that's not just against other people all the time. And so, yeah, I think this, again, I could be completely wrong, and Fortnite will be fine 5 years from now, but I do think within the next 5 years we're probably going to start seeing a lot of shrinking of this, and maybe hopefully this is a hope that maybe we'll start seeing more single player and just campaign based stuff, where maybe we'll go back to those 360 PS3 days where multiplayer was just the add-on part and it was all focused on campaign and all that stuff, and it was just an extra. But we'll see. But again, yeah, just Fortnite not being able to sustain what it was, or seemingly not being able to sustain what it was. If this trend continues, I think that's the signal that something needs to happen with the live service model, or with live service games in general, and just gaming in general. But I mean, you never know. I mean, I think I said it in a podcast too. I do think we're headed to another video game crash. Maybe not like the one, that E.T. caused, but something similar. So, we'll see. But, yeah, I'm rambling now at this point. So, as per usual, you like what I do on this channel, you like my podcast, new episodes every Monday. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Do the things. And until next time, I'll catch you later.